Welcome to Hamster NBC. I'm Pears the Hamster. This is Kids Ask Why, the show where curious kids ask big questions, and the answers surprise not only kids, but parents too. Today's question is a special one, so listen closely and stay curious. And before we begin, remember to watch till the very end, because a long-awaited bedtime story is waiting for you. A calm story, a cozy story, made especially for a quiet, peaceful night. One evening, little Sishay asked a big question. "Mom, how was I born?" Mom smiled gently. "That is a beautiful question," she said. "It is a story about love. A long time ago, Mom and Dad met each other. They became friends, then they fell in love. They were happy together. They talked, laughed, and dreamed. One day, they decided to become a family. They got married. Later, something very special happened. Dad gave Mom a tiny seed of life. It was very, very small. You could not see it with your eyes. Mom's body became a warm and safe home. Inside her tummy, the tiny seed began to grow. First, it was very small, then it grew a little more. It slowly formed a tiny heart, then little arms, then little legs. Mom could feel the baby growing. She talked to her tummy. She sang soft songs. Dad also talked to the tummy. They were waiting for their baby. Days passed. The baby grew bigger and stronger. When there was not much space left in Mom's tummy, and the time was right, the baby was ready to be born. It was not easy, but doctors helped, and Dad stayed close. And then, a baby cried for the first time. It was Sasu. Mom and Dad were very happy. "So I grew from a tiny seed?" Susha asked. "Yes," Mom said, "a tiny seed of love." Kasusha smiled. Now she understood something very important. She was born because she was wanted and because she was loved. And that is the most important answer of all. And now the day is slowly drawing to a close. The noise grows quieter. Thoughts slow down. And it's time for storytelling. But before we begin, let's do one small but important thing. If you enjoy learning new things, if you enjoy listening to stories before bed, and if you want to come back again, subscribe to the Hamster NBC channel and like this video. This way, you'll help us create even more kind stories and clear explanations for children all over the world. Now, get comfortable. History is waiting for you. The Most Improbable Thing, a Fairy Tale by Hans Christian Andersen. Whoever does the most improbable thing will marry the princess, and with her half the kingdom as a dowry. As soon as this was announced, all the young men, and even the old men, began racking their brains, straining their muscles and their sinews, to eat themselves to death, to drink themselves to death, hopping to accomplish the most improbable thing in their own way. But they set about it all wrong. Street urchins were desperate to spit on their own backs. They couldn't imagine anything more improbable. A day was appointed for the presentation of everything everyone considered the most improbable to the jury. The judges included people of all ages, from 3-year-olds to 9. The judges were treated to a veritable display of incredible objects, but soon everyone unanimously decided that the most incredible of them all was the large table clock, with its astonishing internal and external design. Every time the clock struck, living pictures appeared, showing the time. There were 12 such pictures, each with moving figures, singing, and conversation. "This is most incredible," Ebrity sighed. 1 o'clock struck, and Moses appeared on the mountain, inscribing the first commandment on the tablets. 2 o'clock struck, and the Garden of Eden appeared, the abode of Adam and Eve, two happy beings immersed in bliss, though they had nothing, not even a wardrobe for their clothes. Well, they didn't need one. At 3 o'clock, 3 kings appeared, coming from the east to worship Jesus. One of them was as black as a boot, but not through his own fault. The sun had so tanned him. All 3 held precious gifts and fragrant incense in their hands. At 4 o'clock, the 4 seasons were revealed. Spring with a newly blossomed beech branch on which a cuckoo perched. Summer with a ripe ear of rye to which a grasshopper had clung. Autumn with the stork's empty nest, signifying that all the birds had flown. and winter with the old storyteller crow, who could tell old tales in the corner behind the stove. The clock struck 5, signaling the 5 senses: sight in the form of an optician, hearing a coppersmith, smell a cellar of violets and wild jasmine, taste a cook, and touch, or sensory, perception a funeral director in a mourning robe reaching down to his heels. The stroke of 6, a gambler jumped up through a die, and it landed, showing the highest scora, 6. Then came the 7 days of the week, or the 7 deadly sins. There was disagreement about this, and indeed it was difficult to distinguish between them. After this, the choir of monks 8 in number came out and sang matins. At the last stroke of 9, the 9 muses appeared. One occupied themselves with astronomy, another served in the historical archives, and the rest devoted themselves to the theater. 10 o'clock struck, and Moses appeared again with the 2 tablets on which were inscribed all 10 commandments. 11 o'clock struck, and 11 boys and girls jumped out and began to play a game called The 11th Hour Has Striken. Finally, 12 o'clock struck, and the night watchman appeared, wearing a helmet and holding the morning star, singing the ancient night watchman's song, "Midnight has come, the Savior is born." And while he sang, roses bloomed all around, then transformed into the heads of little angels, soaring on iridescent wings. There was something to hear and see. The clock was truly a miracle, the most incredible. By all accounts, the clock's creator was still young, warm-hearted, with a childlike, cheerful soul, a good friend, and an exemplary son who cared for his poor parents. He fully deserved the princess's hand and half the kingdom. The day of the award arrived. The entire city was decked out in festive style. The princess herself sat on her throne. His pillows were stuffed with new hair, but he himself was neither more comfortable nor more at ease. The judges glanced slyly at the young man who was to receive the award, but he stood there, cheerful, alert, confident of his good fortune after all. He had accomplished the most incredible thing. "No, I'll do it now," shouted the tall, muscular young man. "I will do the most incredible thing," and he raised his heavy axe over the wondrous clock. Crash, and everything was shattered. Wheels and springs scattered across the floor. Everything was destroyed. "Here I am," said the strong man. "One blow, and I have destroyed both his creation and you all. I have done the most incredible thing, to destroy such a marvel of art." The judges exclaimed, "Yes, that is the most incredible thing." The whole city repeated the same. And now the princess, and with her half the kingdom, would go to the strong man. The law is the law, no matter how improbable. The wedding was announced from the ramparts and from all the city towers. The princess herself was not at all pleased with this turn of events, but she looked marvelously beautiful in her wedding gown. The church was ablaze with lights. The wedding was scheduled for late evening. It was more spectacular. The city's noblest maidens led the bride away singing. The knights, also singing, surrounded the groom, who looked up as if he had never stumbled. The singing died down, and such silence fell that you could have heard a needle drop to the ground. Suddenly the church doors swung open with a crash and a bang, and then, boom! The wondrous clock solemnly entered the doors and stood between the bride and groom. Dead people cannot rise from the grave. We all know that. But a work of art can be reborn, and it was reborn. Only the exterior, the form, had been shattered, but the idea that animated the work remained. The work of art stood once more whole and unharmed, as if the hand of the destroyer had never touched it. The clocks began to strike, first 1, then 2, and so on until 12, and picture after picture appeared. First appeared Moses. Flames emanated from his brow. He dropped the heavy tablets right on the bridegroom's feet, pinning him in place. "I cannot lift them again," said Moses. "You have cut off my hands. Stand where you stand." Then appeared Adam and Eve, the Eastern kings, and the 4 seasons, each face turned to him with just reproach. "Shame on you." But he had no intention of being ashamed. The remaining figures and groups continued to emerge from the clock, one by one, growing into menacing figures. It seemed that soon there would be no room left in the church for real people. When 12 finally struck, and the night watchman emerged, wearing a helmet and holding the morning star, a commotion erupted in the church. The watchman walked straight up to the groom and struck him on the forehead with his staff. "Lie down," he said. "Measure for measure. Now we are avenged, and so is the artist. Let us disappear." And the work of art vanished, but the candles in the church transformed into large, glowing flowers. The golden stars scattered across the ceiling began to sparkle. The organ began to play of its own accord, and everyone said that this was the most incredible thing. "Then would you please summon the real culprit of all this?" said the princess. "My husband and master will be the artist, the creator of this miracle." And he appeared at the church, accompanied by the entire congregation. Everyone rejoiced at his good fortune. Not a single one was envious. Yes, that was the most incredible thing.